Let's start with an activity. What we have to do is that we have to figure out which one is odd among these, right? So this is an odd one out activity. And so you have to write down whatever option you think is odd, A, B, C, D, E, and also write down the reason why do you think it is odd. So you can write down that in the chat. Okay, answers are coming. I will wait for some time so that everyone can think and write. Whoever has given the answer, you can also think again. Okay, so I see answers as B, C, D. At least those answers have come. And the reason for B is that the color is different. For C, it is different shape. For D, no outline. Okay, so these are the answers. Okay, any other answer? Okay, so most of you are saying B, C, or D. Okay, Minal is saying that E because of the size. Soumya ma'am is saying that it is D because there is no border, and so on. Okay. What about A? So at least we see that B, C, D, and E all can be the answers depending on what perspective we are taking, right? So let's see. So we have given answers as B, C, D, or E, and with regions. What about A? Can A be odd one out? Yeah, if someone wants to unmute and tell also, that is also fine. If you want to, for A particularly. Or if you think that A can't be odd one out, you can write down in the chat, A can't be odd one out. Anyone would like to unmute and tell? You can raise your hand or you can just unmute yourself. Okay, Vinita ma'am is saying A is odd since it is having a border. But Vinita ma'am, there is a border for other objects also, right? Other shapes also. B, D and E also has a border. But color and size, all are different, Ravi is saying. Okay. Ravi, can you unmute yourself and tell why do you think all are different? Yeah, B, C, D is very clear that they are different, but why do you think?
All are different because the sizes for each one of them are different and shapes are also different. That's why nothing is similar is what I feel.
Okay. But can you think of why A will be odd one out?
A will be odd one out because it is slightly, it has a color and a border, so that's why I think it is slightly bigger than B.
Okay. So yeah, but B also has a color and border, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, think about it. Suman ma'am is also saying that all are odd Suman ma'am, would you like to unmute and tell?
Shilpa Rani says, I mean, raising her hand, so maybe.
Okay, sure. Yeah, go ahead, ma'am.
Hello, Tarun. To first pick out something odd, we have to find something in common. So the perspective with which we are looking each time changes with every object. So this is how I cannot find everything. To group everything as common and then to pick something odd one out, we need to be able to group them all together once. So if we group everything as orange, then B is out. If we group everything as square, then C is out. So each time we try to group them into something, then our perspective itself changes each time.
Correct. Very nice. So now can A be odd one out? Shilpa, would you like? Yeah, I will be calling everyone by name. So yeah, we'll try to follow that practice. You can also call me and Pankaj and Minal by name. Yeah. So would you like to tell why A will be odd one out? Okay. Pankaj, we will give the answer.
Yeah.
Okay. So as all of you have pointed out that B, C, D, and E definitely are odd one out depending on how are we seeing, right? As Shilpa said. And so let me take another perspective. So I will say that A, B, C, D I am grouping because they have the border, right? Similarly, A, D, C, E I am grouping because they have the same color. So B is out. Similarly, these four I am grouping A, B, D, E because all are squares, so C is out. And A, B, C, D I am grouping because they are bigger in size compared to E. So all others I can figure out that B, C, D, and E are odd one out depending on some criteria. But I can't figure out any criteria to make A odd one out, right? So in that way, A is odd one out because I am not able to make it odd one out. So are you able to get that perspective, everyone? Pankaj, do you want to add something?
Yeah. So basically, like, you can make things odd one out by some criteria, but A, just because it is not odd one out, it is an odd one out. So a new perspective that we just see things from one line of thought, whereas we see something which is different from the others, but something which is not different from the others. This is the only one which is not different from the others. Everything else is different, at least in some way or the other. So this is the only one which is not different from the other.
Yeah, also some of you, if you can keep your videos on, at least whoever doesn't have the network challenge, that would be helpful so that we are talking to someone. So at least we have the feedback mechanism. So that would be helpful. Okay, great. So let's move forward. Quickly, which one is odd one out? Yeah, Shilpa is giving thumbs up, so that's great. Yeah, you can give these kind of notifications also so that we know whether you are able to, you are with us or. Okay, quickly, odd one out with region. D, Ravi is saying okay. Non-living, okay. Lucky is also saying D. Okay, most of you are saying D. Any other answer possible? Yeah, D is very prominent. Any other option also possible, as we have seen in the other first example. Some of you can unmute also, that is perfectly fine if you want to quickly tell.
Hi, it could be even A because the background color is also not matching. So I feel the bag is matching with the new background. Others are matching with the background, but not the rabbits.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, so that can be another perspective. Very nice.
I feel C is also answer because for movement, 4 legs or wheels, whatever is needed. Whereas the third one, I think it's only egg-laying mammal. I don't know the name exactly. So that has got just 2 legs. That's my thought.
The third one.
Yes, C.
No, it has more legs. Probably it is not.
That's 2 legs. I think I'm seeing 2 legs.
No, 3 at least I can see in the picture. Fourth one I am not sure. Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. But yeah, basically based on the number of legs also we should be able to classify. So that is another perspective. Yeah.
A, because it is more than one rabbit. Balance.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. Okay, great. So
I thought like that. I thought multiple number of rabbits.
okay, very nice. Very nice. Yeah. So like this. So basically, generally we think that there is only one right answer, but if we see from different perspective, every option may be right, right? So that is very important to see. Okay, quickly for this. Which one is odd one out among 3, 9, 15, and 22? 22 with reason. Rakhi, can you give the reason? Okay, 22 because it is not divisible by 3. Interesting. Manjula is saying that.
Yeah, I also thought 22.
Okay, multiple of 3. Okay.
Any other perspectives?
Any other perspective?
22 is even number, rest are all odd.
Correct. Yeah, but the option remains same, right? Can there be some other
Yeah.
option which is also odd one out?
3 is also odd one out because it's a prime number, whereas others are composite numbers.
Correct, correct. So again, when we look at it, 22 is very prominent that it will be odd one out. But if we start paying attention to other numbers, then we will be able to figure out even for other numbers. So Gauri is saying that 9 because it is only square, right? Very interesting. Yeah. So similarly, for everything we can figure out. Even 15 can be odd one out because it is the only multiple of 5, right? So quickly, which one is odd one out and reason? While others are typing, if someone wants to unmute and tell, that is also perfectly fine.
I think it's Gandhi
Reason?
because though he got the Nobel Prize, he rejected it, whereas others too received the Nobel Prize.
Okay. That's interesting. So
I will go with Albert Einstein because he's a scientist and the other two are social workers or leaders.
okay. Interesting perspective.
Just a correction. Gandhi never got a Nobel Prize.
Yeah, that's also
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was also
I would
Yeah,
go with
yeah,
Mother
he
Teresa
nominated
because
multiple
she's the
times.
lady among two of them.
correct. So he got nominated, but he didn't receive. So I was going
I would also say Einstein once again because in Gandhi and Mother Teresa are Indians. Although, of course, Mother Teresa was from another this thing, but she lived mostly in India.
Yeah. So based on the birth, based on the where did they work, most of their life. Yeah. So those can be another.
So Vinita says Gandhi because only Gandhi is an Indian. The rest of the two probably are like Europeans or whatever.
So we have the Gandhi and Einstein as odd one out. Any reason for Mother Teresa? Or
She's the only
female,
one among
female,
two of
someone
them.
said. Gauri said only female. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, so again, we can think, and also many times figuring out the differences are easy, but figuring out the similarities are more challenging. So I will not spend time right now, but think about what can be the similarities between these personalities. Right? So that can be another.
All three of them are famous.
Okay, possible. Yeah, there may be multiple other reasons. Yes. Okay, so this is a quick activity for all of you. So from your subject, your discipline, whether you teach English, math, science, social science, whatever, can you quickly write down 4 options as an odd one out activity? And also think that there should not be one right answer. There should be multiple right answers. All are human. Sharon is saying. Nice similarity. Inventions, okay. Yeah, balance, iPhone. Yeah, if you can change the name, it would be easy for me to communicate.
My name is Revati.
Revati, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, can you give the examples of inventions? the 4 examples which you want to take. Yeah, sometimes it may need more time to think about it, because figuring out a problem where only one odd one out is there is slightly easy compared to where multiple right options are there. Car, scooter, bus, and suitcase. Okay. Would you like to quickly explain, Namrata?
Yeah, so here I have given these 4 options. So like it could be odd one out. The traveling bag could also be odd one out, right? And the scooter can also be odd one out
Mhm.
because most of them have 4 wheels, but scooter has 2.
Very interesting. Very nice.
And traveling bag is not a vehicle. And like when we talk about bus, it is bigger than all of them. So this is how like I just made connections.
Okay, interesting. Very nice perspective. Yeah, I am getting multiple answers on the chat. So yeah, it's nice that all of you are thinking about different perspectives. But we will not go into further detail in that. We will move to another activity, but very interesting options coming up. Okay, so this is
The main idea, Tarun, from previous thing is like we need not only think from one direction. There can be like multiple. So then it just becomes joyful instead of like only there is a single right answer. So in that case, as teachers also we are clear that it's not the answer, but the reasoning that comes with the answer becomes more important, not just the answer.
correct. So what and how are they thinking? That is very important. So that was the takeaway from the earlier activity. Also, when we don't think that, okay, this answer, I don't think will be odd one out. And when we realize that this can also be odd one out, it brings that aha factor. Oh, wow. Right. So that joy factor, what Pankaj is talking about. Okay. Some examples from maths are also coming. Great. Okay. So we'll move to quickly to this reading activity. What you have to do during this activity is that you have to read this passage and read it critically. Also, whatever correction you think that something is wrong, you can write down quickly in the chat. And also, it is not the complete thing. So if you can also predict maybe some phrase if you want to write next, what will happen next after whatever is written. So these are the 3 things which we have to keep in mind when we are reading this particular passage. So we will take just few minutes to read and write.
Yeah, you can write it in the chat box. Anything
Yeah.
to take. Correct.
Yeah, you can keep writing if possible when you are reading, because if you read completely, then you will lose that. Spelling mistake, okay. Manjula is saying that. Very nice. But once. Okay. Yeah. So here it is but one, but it should be but once. Okay. Interesting.
The commas. Aparajita is pointing out the comma.
Okay. Yeah. Commas. We are not putting the proper commas. Okay. Yeah. Other than English, can there be something else? Make the place dirty. Okay. Yeah. Articles. Okay, great. So yeah, at least we have a couple of things with respect to English, but can we be critical about something else other than the English aspect? And also, what can happen next? Prediction, if anyone wants to write quickly. Or if someone wants to orally tell also, it's fine.
Something related to environment and cleanliness and things like, abuse of the environment and nature.
Wow, interesting. Yeah. So you are talking about environment, and do you want to predict further, Revati, what will happen next?
I'm thinking maybe saying this in a kind of a story format. Probably if you're telling it to children, you could always tell them like how you can enhance and keep their environment. Like, today's pandemic is teaching us a lesson that how much we have abused the environment. So this could probably go through the storyline where, making the place dirty, abusing cleanliness, the importance of cleanliness. So I think you can interrelate all these things.
Very nice. Okay, so that is one perspective, and Mrinal is asking a very nice question. She is saying, why is she assumed to be a male? So yeah, so then we are reading critically, right? So the critical aspect is also coming along with whatever we are being critical about English. Apart from that, we can be critical about the facts, right? Okay. Yeah, personification of nature, interesting.
It also talks about, they started to laugh on the sea, right? So that is something we don't want to do, right? Laughing at someone, right? Or condemning someone or being sarcastic about something. So that may not be a skill that we want to imbibe in anyone, right?
Very interesting. So emotional aspect is also coming into play. And
yes.
Lucky is saying high wave may teach them. Okay, so that is the prediction. So let's quickly read this one possibility of what will happen next. Obviously, as you said, there are multiple possibilities, but we'll quickly read this one. Also, you can be again critical about it. And if there is any correction, you can also do that. Yeah, mainly critical. Let's focus on critical. Yeah, if you want to write quickly, what are you critical about in this? Or if someone wants to unmute and tell that is. Any critical aspect like we talked about in the previous passage about why are we assuming something, right? So are we assuming something here? Okay, so because we are running out of time, I will ask one question. So one is that, so this critical aspect comes whenever we think that what are the assumptions, right? So coexistence, okay. That wave will open the mouth of the crocodile. Yeah, that is the assumption again. Very nice. Also, it says that one day one crocodile caught one of those birds. So we are assuming that there are crocodiles in sea, right? But if we don't know this information, whether there are crocodiles in sea or not, first time whoever is reading, that person will start assuming now that there will be crocodile in seas. But if there are no crocodiles in sea, then that person will go with this information or this belief, right? So it is whenever we are encountering something which we don't know whether it is right or wrong, we have to go and cross verify that fact, right? So that is very important. Okay, great. So let's move forward. So what we did just now, we did something about critical reading. We talked about correction, like we gave something wrong and then we told them to figure out whether something is right or wrong, and also prediction, because when we are predicting, then also that R factor is there because we are imagining, right? That, okay, wow, what will happen and so on. So Google for sea crocodiles, okay? Just by saying that. Okay. Yeah, so that can be done. And so whatever we did with the story right now, does it only apply to the story or English or language? Or can we use the same strategy everywhere, wherever we are reading, right? So for example, we have this picture from a particular book, right? So it says that materials such as clear water, cellophane, and glass allow light to pass through them completely. We can see very clearly through these objects. Such materials are said to be transparent, right? So this is given. Anyone wants to quickly tell? Unmute yourself and tell that when we are reading this critically, do you see something? Are we assuming something here or something which is not right? So light pass through them completely. So it says those are the objects which are transparent objects. Does it raise any alarm or no? Okay, so maybe I will leave you with that thought. So I will not give the answer. So my question is that whether it is right or wrong. So when we are saying that transparent objects are the objects which allow the light to pass through them completely, if we are giving that as a definition, is that definition right? So many times we will. Yeah. Samra, do you want to say something? Okay. Yeah. So the question is that definition right? Right. So whenever even we are reading scientific text or any other text, there may be something which is assumed or something which may not be right. So are we reading critically? So that is the question which we are asking. And when we see these kind of mistakes, again, that aha factor is there. Oh, wow. We thought that it is like that, but it is not like that, right? So that kind of factors will come. So just to summarize what we did. So first we started with these puzzles where there is no one right answer, right? There are multiple right answers. So it again brings that new perspective. And these puzzles or gamifications or explorations will engage the learners more, and there will be this joy factor because they are trying to do something, they are trying to figure out the answer for something and so on, right? So that is one factor which we did in the first activity. Second thing was about something right, and sometimes we are giving wrong. So we can even give this activity to the students, and we can tell that you have to figure out what is right and what is wrong. So in that way, they will be critical about reading, because many times we give them something for reading, but always it is right. So they may not be critical. But if intentionally, if we put something wrong, then they will be critical about it, right? So these kind of activities can also be done. Prediction, again, a very important thing because they are thinking, imagining. So again, the joy factor may come. And as I said, when we are reading critically, that aha factor will come. Oh, wow, I didn't think about it. So again, the joy factor will come. And one more important thing is that can we cater some activities based on the learner's interest? So for example, we asked you to fill this form, and many of you have written that your interest is in reading. So that's why we have planned this reading activity today, right? So it is based on your interest. So if something is coming from your interest, then probably there will be more engagement and more joy, and there will be a lot of happiness and all. So those were the takeaways from these two activities. I will hand over now to Pankaj.
Right.
Take you through another activity.
Thank you, Tarun. By the way, there is a very other different perspective about transparency by Vinita. Transparency means to be frank, straightforward. So that is another perspective. So the thing is, like, we don't have one right thing and all. So there's nobody, like, we are not fearful that this is the right answer and I have to give this right answer or something. It's okay to think out of the box, and it's okay to just open up and express whatever I feel like. So do the exact same thing, be transparent, be frank, be straightforward. Share your observations. There is some image which is seen over here. So share your observations, and if you can convert some of those observations into questions. So don't worry about like who is asking what kind of questions. I may just read out some of the questions that you may be asking, but don't get biased or judge any of the question or start answering somebody else's question or anything. Yeah, just keep that flow of question, whatever questions come to your mind after observing this image. Yeah, you can use the chat box. We can start with the questioning. So questions, or if you want to start with some observations and then go to the questions, your choice. Yeah, and just be frank about it, very transparent. So nobody is there to chemistry in kitchen. Okay, so this is a observation which Vivek starts with. Why oil is very important for cooking? Okay, so Maheshwari has a question. Why oil is very important for cooking? What is the dish? All right, interesting. Is the oil hot? Is it possible to see heat in the pick? What is happening? What do you think the temperature is? Hot, cold? Okay, interesting. Importance of curry leaves. Why are there bubbles? Why are there bubbles? Yes, there are bubbles. What reactions are taking place? By the way, we have a very diverse group of teachers. I guess from the forms, we know that it is not just the science teachers or math teachers or any of those one specific thing. So there are social science teachers. So I am actually looking if we can go beyond these boundaries of science or chemistry or those kind of things and think some history, some geography, some whatever, something beyond science, some arts maybe, I don't know. Chat about senses, visual info, but can trigger smells, tastes. Okay, interesting. All ingredients together might create a good dish. Okay. Where did the curry leaves come from? Which country? Okay, which country? So Tarun says which country? It can be some local. Why 1 tablespoon of oil is used? Okay. Right. Yeah, any questions beyond science? Or beyond chemistry, or yeah, okay, there are some definitely some recipe kind of things. So why only this much? There may be a scientific reasoning. Why tadka? Why not add directly? What's the use of using oil? Okay, so why not just add some water and boil everything? Why do we use oil? Okay, interesting. Which oils can we use for cooking? Dimensions of the pan. So I really like this question. So why tadka? Why not directly add things? Okay, since when tempering was used in cooking? Since when tempering? Why not use mud pot? Wow. Okay, interesting. So we are already reaching something. Okay, there is some science component, but there is already some history component into it. Volume of the flame. Okay, again some science. I'm more interested in something beyond science also. I mean, I should not be more interested, but it can be like how many varieties of curry leaves are there? Okay. Different mixtures without losing their own flavor. Okay. All right. Any more questions, observation? How many people will this dish be served? Ah, nice, 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 nice. Okay. How many people will this dish be served? Okay. Anything about, yeah. Have some ingredients be forgotten? Okay. Think of other materials of pan. Okay. Can I build a story based on this pick? Wow, wow, wow. So we are going into storytelling, vegetarian or non-vegetarian, ratio of curry leaves, ratio of all the different ingredients. How many dishes can we prepare from one tadka? Why have ingredients been added in this order? See, we have been doing this tadka day in, day out, right? So why have ingredients been added in this order? We don't see some ingredients over here. We see some ingredients after we add whatever other curries and stuff. So why are the tadkas used the same way in different geographies? Okay. So do we have tadka beyond India also? Or tadka or these materials which are there in tadka, all these spices that we have in India? Any questions, any such triggering anything? When was tadka or seasoning discovered? Okay. When was tadka discovered? Okay. Nice, nice, nice. Interesting. Okay. So we are getting, don't worry about the answers. Don't worry about the answers. Not so much in Asian or South. Don't worry about answering anybody's question. So don't stop to judge anybody's question, discuss any question or answer any question. Just flow in this observation and questioning thing right now. We will worry about the answering in a while. Okay, any other question? Who discovered the spices combination? Wow. Who discovered the spices combinations? Why are tadkas famous in Indian dishes? Okay, so now see, we started somewhere, mostly some observations or questions around tadka, some chemistry related things or some cooking related questions, but now slowly we are moving away from it, and the kind of questions we are getting is much more diverse and across Like it's just going everywhere, and it's all like something which we see and do day in, day out. How many different recipes can be designed using an algorithm? Okay. Wow. All right. So, okay, I'll just add one more component term. If you can go to the next slide. So now we have some more information. So this was the first image, and now we have some more image. So if that also triggers some more chain of thoughts. Oh, I'm so glad, like number of questions, and more than the number, the diversity of questions. We started from Tadka specific thing, and now we have like range of questions. Yeah. Any other questions after seeing the other image? We have added some more components to the initial thing. Yes, any further thoughts, any further questions? Oh, why salt and chili got added at the end? Substitutions, ingredients can be changed. How does this affect something? So can we add salt and chili and everything in the tadka, or why don't we add these curry leaves or cumin seeds and all these sesame or mustard, those seeds later on? Why do we add in the tadka? Why only one vegetable is being used? Which state cultivates more jeera? Oh, wow. Which state cultivates more jeera? Okay. Any questions, any history questions from jeera? Jeera or any of these spices has a very important place in our history also. How many different products can you create from this stage? Okay. Nice. Where did capsicum come to India from? Can the same ingredients be used for any other vegetable? Why don't we eat anything raw and go and okay, some dangerous thing and just go and sit on the stove? Is jeera originated in India? Why not rock salt can be used? Okay, so we have just like exceeded the number of questions with whatever expectations I had initially. How pure or clean are the ingredients? Okay, interesting, right? So many interesting things from a phenomena that we see almost daily and maybe even multiple times in a single day. So just one more question. Like I'm sure all of us, you and me and everybody would have, okay, spices were exported from India to foreign, right? So now we are having this other diverse thought process beyond just the tadka related things to spices, and probably I just triggered some things also, but I guess many other things came even beyond the triggering things. So now how many times we have done this tadka, and do we get all these questions? Today it was just like, okay, what do we do with the left? So we are just getting more and more questions. So all people wanted to discover India for the spices India had. Oh, wow. So Shilpa has another interesting aspect. So do we get all these questions or so many observations? This is not very like a very peculiar phenomenon. This is something which we keep seeing every day. It's not like something which you just see once in a blue moon. So do we get this chain of thoughts, chain of questions every time we do a tadka, or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? A simple question. Sometimes, no. Yeah, be transparent over here. So I am going to use that definition of transparency. So yeah, be very transparent over here. Frank, nobody is going to judge anybody else. So yeah, depends on our mood. Not every day it's mechanical. No, only what to cook will be running in our head. Okay, so we are also having some reasons why not, or why yes, or why sometimes. So yeah, you can also share your reasons why that answer. Okay, so fine. So now we have all these questions. Now suppose, okay, not every day I am worried not to burn the jeera. Okay, there's no time to think as tadka will burn. Okay, wow, nice, interesting. So, okay, maybe before or after sometimes. Anyways, so now the next question is, Tarun, maybe you can just go to the next thing. So what do we do? So these are some of the questions which we have got from some of the earlier sessions that we did. And today's thing probably will just maybe double the list, because I guess we have got almost like more than 50 or even 100 questions, all the different range. And these are just like the science kind of questions, but we have many different other varieties of questions also. Like today also we got a lot of those questions. Tarun, next. Yeah. So we can get many of these other different kind of questions, like which all geographical locations spices grow. Today we had those questions. Which states jeera grows? Or did people came to colonize India, or they were only in search of jeera or whatever, not jeera, sorry, the spices. Was it only about spices, or it was some other ulterior motive also? So, or any of those questions, is there any specific soil requirement for growing spices? Now, this is all coming from a image which is happening every day in our kitchen and multiple times. So now, and suppose we start some topic or some such discussions with our students, and they are asking all these questions. What do we do next? What should we do next? There's no only thinking, how would it be discovered? Okay, so what do we do next? So we have all these questions. What do we do with these questions? Tarun, can you just go to the next slide? Yeah. What do we do next? That is important. That becomes very much important, more than the questions itself. I mean, questions are like one great place to start with. Like, what should we do next? We tell them to do research. So they Google on the Google and find out the information. Namrata, is that what you mean? What all things can we do? Because okay, maybe before this question is asking these questions, giving some, okay, how does this help? Like students asking their own questions, how does this help in the learning process? Does that contribute in any which way in that joyful learning thing? Now, you all have asked a lot of these questions from a phenomena which you observe day in, day out. Okay, so does that contribute any which way in the joyfulness of the learning process? Yes or no, and how? Okay, we are sorry, I just confused everyone. So, okay, wait, we will just go with this what next kind of thing. So, so now we are also getting self-thinking, creativity, different perspective. Okay, thinking routines, what I already know, what I want to know more, and what can I learn more about. Okay, so Aparajita is talking about thinking routines. Malini says all these different perspective thinking, right? Hands-on, Revati says hands-on, need to know. So making learning a two-way process. Okay, we can make them think and make them grab them. Okay, now so does this contribute to the joyfulness? Or yeah, I mean, one is involvement of the students, but we are not really worried only about the involvement. That is definitely a very nice thing, they get engaged, but will they enjoy doing the things? There is involvement which I see from your responses, that they get involved in the learning. Will they also feel, why will they feel joyful? Okay, encourage student-led learning. Okay, okay. What can be the other reasons? Why should they feel joyful? I mean, they feel engaged, fine. Why joyful? Experience is lasting. Okay, what would have happened if I gave a question instead of the question coming from you? Is there a difference? So I gave a question to start with, or even start teaching, versus the question also comes from the learners, and then we build upon that. Is there a difference in that? So the question, I mean, maybe out of these 50 questions, maybe we just select one of the question that which all geographical locations do the spices grow? So instead of the question given by me, does it help if the question comes from the learners? So does that help in any which way? So, and also something which is connected to their routine, like something which is connected to their surrounding Higher investment, learn quickly. Okay. Help them to memory for a long time, retain the memory. Okay. Nice. So we are having a lot of these other interesting point of views, that when we allow them to ask questions, we will know their interest and help us to explore more and learn with this generation. So it's like learning directed by students, and we are also participants in that process. Very nice. I really like this perspective. Okay, thinking in advance. Right. Will that give them more ownership for the questions or for the further explorations? And should we like give them a way to find out the answer? Like you Google it out, or I give the answer, or what can be the other ways? So instead of giving answers, can we think of alternate ways which can be joyful, which can be engaging, but at the same time, we don't end up giving away the answer? Like be it about the history, be it about the geography, be it about, and there need not be like a one single right answer, right? We started from that odd man out thing, and we know that like if there are multiple perspectives, it just opens up our thought process. So, when questions come from them, it shows they are curious, look forward to explore and find answers. Okay, later discussions give the sense of responsibility, ownership. Wow, nice, nice, nice. So they become much more active when they explore. They take it upon themselves instead of, so it's like I teach someone versus somebody wants to learn. So I mean, although it sounds very small difference, but I teaching versus somebody wanting to learn. So just igniting, inspiring, igniting that curiosity. So self-experience make them remember forever. I mean, more than remembering, also the process that somebody can go through it. So the process itself becomes a lot more joyful. So yeah, Tarun, if you can just go to the next slide. We are just running slightly out of time. Students are engaged well. No, go back. So what can be the other activities? What can be the other ways to engage learner, but in a joyful way? What can be the other ways? So this is again important, because we promised that we will have this crowdsource thing. We got a lot of ideas. So from the survey that we did, I mean, thanks to all the people who participated. If you have not, it would be great if you can participate in that survey. But we have got a lot of ideas where teachers across disciplines and across geographies, they have tried a lot of different ideas. So what can be some more ideas which can engage learner in a joyful way? So one is engagement, and also that joyful component. I feel a pleasure in that learning process. What can be the other different ways? So we saw that odd man out thing, or the critical reading thing, which also engages them. So there is always this constant thing. I look out for something, and there's a lot of this fun activities and games, right? This is something which they relate to their surrounding, to their place, and their questions, and then they explore the questions further. So that is a joyful component. Games, fun activities. What can be the other ways? And if you have tried anything, I guess last session also we have a lot of those experiences. We are just compiling those things and we will share it. So if you have any such anecdote or experience that worked quite well for you, and not just the engagement, I am repeating these two words again and again. So like really enjoyed. So if that really worked, if you want to share it either in the chat box, or you want to speak for everyone, so that will be also helpful. So something that you have tried and students were just got engrossed in that. They look forward to that learning. They look forward to attending the classes, be it the physical school or be it the online school, anything. We are not really restricting our discussion only to the online learning. It can also be physical school thing. So any experience anybody want to share, something that you tried and worked out really well, and students themselves were looking forward to it, instead of we reaching out to them. Nature walk. Okay. Yeah, somebody want to elaborate? If you can just elaborate in the chat box, that also will be helpful. If you can just elaborate it a bit. Something that worked quite well in your experience. A theme for the month. So there is a broader theme that we are doing. So Chikita, have you tried this and how did it work? Would you like to share this? Or Namrata, some nature walk experiences, or Anybody? Huh.
Yeah, I used to do this in my classroom and it worked really well. So I had very varied themes, like 1 month, 1 unit. I actually did 6 weeks. It was Gujarat, for example. So, in history, we did like the festivals of Gujarat, the region. In geography also, it was connected to that. I did it to sort of match with Uttarayan. So that was like for art and craft, that's the activity we had done, is actually making our own kites. So the kids were very excited about the whole thing, basically.
Nice. Great.
And I think as engagement increased, I saw an absolute relative improvement in how they were doing in classes. So their grades improved dramatically when I moved to this style of introducing material.
So was it like you doing it for your subject, or some
So I was a class teacher. I was
collaborated and
teaching all the subjects.
Oh,
So I had the luxury of connecting everything to
oh,
that
wow.
same.
Wow. Great. Wow, that's such a nice thing. Yeah, because otherwise, like if I take science with some theme and then the math teachers, the social science teachers, the language teachers, the arts or whatever other things, if everything gets
Correct, that would be different. In my case, I was teaching in a municipal corporation school.
Right.
So apart from computers, I actually had them for everything. So everything from PE to art and craft to music to, the English, science, math, history, geography, everything was with me. So this worked. It also helped me to try and create, activities and lesson plans, because it gave me a focus for the material.
Wow, great to know that. Right. So yeah, anybody else wants to share something that you have tried and that worked quite well, if you can share with the community.
Hi, this is Namrata. So I had written nature walks. So nature walk means, like, when kids were sitting in the class, so we had a big garden in our school. So we just took them down, and we had a special area where we had grown some of these fruit trees. So we used to take kids around them, and like we just used to tell them to observe them. So first they observed the flowers, then after a few days they saw that something coming out from it. So they were so excited to see that papaya tree. We also had a pomegranate tree. So when kids just looked at those trees, and they were so amazed to see that, okay, how a flower turns into a fruit. So that is how they when they see something, actually they keep it in their mind, and they never forget those things. So sitting in the class, it just, like, when we just keep on talking about those things, it just bores them. And some of them might not even feel like listening to us. But of course, when they are down in the nature walk, and they also had their observation books, so they used to draw pictures, they used to just put ticks to how much did it grew and all. So this is how I feel it increased their learning and capacity of retaining things also.
Wow, great. Yeah, anybody else? I mean, I am myself personally a very big fan of nature walks. That really helps not just the kids, I guess adults also, we enjoy a lot. There are so many, like Pandora walks.
Yeah. We also use these nature walks for seasonal changes in trees and plants also.
Nice. So like anyone tree also see throughout the year and all the different changes. Very nice. Great. Thanks for sharing this. Yeah, anybody else, if you want to share, if you're not comfortable speaking, please share it in the chat box. That really helps, so that we all can benefit from each other's ideas also slightly. So yeah, I'll just quickly move on. So Tarun, if you can, self and peer learning from study. Okay, so learning from self and family. Okay, so involving family, that also brings in not just the joyful aspect, but also like connecting with the family. I really agree with you, Malini, because we try to incorporate many times. So talk to your parents, be in the kitchen, or talk to your grandparents, what used to happen that time. So there is some connect while learning is also happening. So that really helps. So yes, compare and contrast, certainly. So maybe I'll just quickly try to summarize, because we have one other person today with us who will, because we got a lot of responses, especially from the emotional or psychological kind of thing. So while this COVID thing is happening, online learning is happening, we don't see the students, what is happening behind the screen. So and for the new registrants, we also asked some of these questions and we had got a lot of those responses also. So Ashwini ma'am will be talking about some of those emotional, the psychological issues and how can we address those things also. But I'll just quickly conclude this part. Yeah, if you want to add some more things, you can please add it in the chat box. So like if we can start with some phenomena, something which anybody can relate to some real life scenario. Like kitchen is like one rich source of observations, the home garden, surrounding, we were talking about that tree, observing some tree or observing sky, moon, sun, any of those things. So many things at home, the fan, the tap, everything at home is a rich source of observation and questions and concepts, not just for science or math, even social science. How did these things come into picture, the geographical aspects? So these are, and something which a child can easily relate to. So automatically something that you see day in, day out around you and want to just know more about it, and where nobody gives an answer and rather you just end up exploring it all by yourself with some facilitation. So that journey itself also becomes a joyful process in that way, like exploring, making some toys, some challenges given, and solving some puzzles, storytelling, enacting. I mean, I remember my history teacher, the way he used to enact all the historical whatever chapters were there, and even now when I read those any history related things, I visualize those things as story. I mean, somebody enacting it in front of me, because it was always like getting enacted. And maybe in the classroom we can create these kind of scenarios where maybe 4 or 5 students take some small part and enact it. Even in the online learning, why not? So those can be some ways, and that has worked quite well. So students also have that sense of ownership again. So I have to do something differently, and so that slight challenge is also there. So there is this joy component, but there is some reward component also, even in the challenges like puzzles or anything. So once I get it, so that I've achieved something, so that achievement, that reward kind of feeling. So I mean, these are all connected to some neuroscience, some hormones and all those things also. We're not going into too much of details over there. So yeah, Tarun, next. So one is like creating this joyful learning, whatever we can do with our curriculum or other things in our classroom, but generally an environment which is a very intellectually stimulating, a very positive state for learners and learning. So that helps, like a sense of pleasure during the process of learning. So like many of the things that we discussed today. And if the students start creating knowledge by themselves one by one, so again, that is this sense of achievement that, okay, I got it. So it was not like teacher gave this knowledge to me, I created it. It may be like recreating some of the knowledge which people have created in the past, but for the child, it is like, I did it myself. So there is this, I have this sense of achievement which is there. And then we can associate learning with these strong positive emotions. Somewhere, maybe we will not talk about it much today, but like if we can create these emotions, maybe Ashwini ma'am is an authority on that. So if that may also help in some of the negative emotion thing that is going on due to whatever circumstances now or even otherwise. So if that can like offset some of those things, if we can encourage teamwork, so students collaborating, or student within students, or also with the family members. So again, that becomes a mean to connect with the family, connect with the friends, connect with the grandparents, connect with the neighbors. So if we can involve some other human component, so there is some collaborative work. Yeah, this is again very important. We can actually have an entire session on that. So if anybody feels not threatened by answering, so that it's okay if I make mistake, it's okay if I can go wrong, at least I given it a try, at least there is a platform to express my thoughts, my opinions, whatever I think, whether it is right or wrong, that is immaterial. So because this might create that non-joy kind of thing. So if we can create that, at least that hindrance, that joy thing is taken care of, then like many of the things that we discussed today, that sense of ownership is there. And with all these things, it's like students look forward to the learning spaces, be it the online learning and offline learning. So if we can be, so it's more like we are being mindful of how things are happening. So once we are mindful, we end up doing things that we are mindful about. So how and what way to approach and all these things, I guess there are like enough number of resources available online. and there are enough number of resource people available around. So we can always figure it out as long as we are mindful whether the child is enjoying that process. So I'm sure most of you, like the way you have narrated many of these incidences in the chat box, I'm so glad that we as teachers are generally always like looking so that things will be interesting for the student. They will feel connected. At the same time, we put across all these concepts. So right. So Tarun, yeah, you can go to the next slide and the next. So there are some resources which NCERT has created. There are links shared over here. We will share it in the group after the session and also in the mail. So this handbook of joyful learning that has so many different things class-wise for different subjects. It has a lot of simple strategies to make it happen. In fact, there's an entire section of kitchen as a source of new ideas and explorations and a lot of learning. So kitchen is given a special treatment also. But yeah, not just kitchen, like so many other things at home also has like so much of rich exploration component. Then there is this other specific guidelines that NCERT has come up with during the COVID time. So enhancing learning enhancement guidelines for the students. So we will just share these resources. One more thing, we just want to share it with you before I hand it over to Ashwini ma'am. Yes, Tarun, next. So based on the responses and based on whatever interactions we have had in the last 2 sessions, we thought that if anybody needs any such hand-holding thing, one is for this counselor thing, like Radha ma'am was there last session and Ashwini ma'am is also there today and last session. So teachers as this first line counselor, especially at this time where the students are going through some such emotional states. So how can we understand this psychology and also identify those problems and at least act as this first line intervention? So it may not be like we will be able to solve, probably there are experts for that, but at least because we as teachers interact with our students on a very regular basis, maybe and also it just helps us also when we are taking these classes. We don't know what is the emotional state, the psychological state of the learners. So we are planning to have this session. We will be like mostly having these 4 sessions with spread out like on a weekly basis. And the other thing is like about science, we may come up with some other program, not sure yet, but yeah, for science at least we are planning one such program again for a 6 session long thing, mainly taking all the people who are interested through the process of science. So work, think like scientists. It's not like science as a subject, but science as a field. It means a lot more different. So what is science? How can we take these science related things and focus on all these different skills and adapt to these inquiry or discovery based pedagogies? So, and how can we make it at the same time participatory, engaging for the students? So, and yeah, I think that's also about NEP things. So yeah, we are planning to have these 2 things started very soon. So the main thing that we are looking is commitment from all the people. So maybe there will be some nominal fees, but that's mainly to ensure that people are committed for this. So somebody who is committed, that is the main requirement. And if there is any financial difficulties, we have some of our well-wishers. In fact, this entire initiative of Teachers Corner is supported by some well-wishers of ours. So like you promote this kind of learning philosophy, promote the NEP kind of learning philosophy. So yeah, if there is any financial difficulties for anybody, yeah, do reach out to us and we will share all those details in due course, and that will be taken care of. So the main thing, again, I'll repeat again, the commitment and like that main interest components, one that is there, then automatically the other things will, yeah. So we will share the details of all these things in the group and mails and everything, so that don't have to worry. And yeah, if there is any other colleague of yours who is interested, please you can circulate to them also. So yeah, over to you, Ashwini ma'am. Sorry, I have extended the time by 5 minutes. So yeah.
So thank you, Tarun and Pankaj. It was very nice session. Actually, for the first time, I have come for the Teachers Corner, and I have enjoyed a lot. It's like I was just trying to know what exactly you were trying to give, and also actually not so good, but was judging the responses. Although you were telling, both of you were telling repeatedly that not to judge, not to think about that, but still, it is a psychologist's mind. Can't help it. Yeah, but what I thought, this is for all the teachers now. See, the activities, what both of them have presented. The first thing what I felt about this is they actually all the activities were focused considering the mind of all the teachers, when they were sure that yes, all the teachers are dedicated teachers, interested teachers, and they are trying to give something good. So all these things were considered. So mind was consulted. Fine. And the second thing about the activities, what I have felt is like they were kind of near to far. If all the teachers have done their B.Ed and if you have read about a little about education in different materials and all that, I think they have given this idea in your course that the idea or the concept has to go from near to far. So they were showing us some pictures which definitely we could relate, and then they were triggering the questions or the information what was required in that. So it is always near to far. So first is mind was consulted and then near to far. Fine. And they were not teaching anything to us, but we learned a lot. So it's like we have those ideas, only thing some trigger, some guidance, some motivation is required always. And if it is non-judgmental, if it is really positive, if it is interesting, if it is kind of stimulating, then we learn very quickly. And today's activities actually, although there were only few pictures or some information, we could take it in multidisciplinary approach. It wasn't only maths or science. There was history, there was geography, there was recipes like cooking, and all these things were included. So it was really interesting. I think there is a lot to learn from this experience. As Pankaj was saying, that if we use little of our interest and ideas, definitely we can reach out with all this information to many of our students. Now, coming to the developmental part of it, as we have asked a question that which age group you find teaching is really difficult, or somewhere we are unable to reach each and every student in online courses. So what I felt is somewhere we have to continue whatever we were continuing in offline classes. First thing, actually, when I was discussing it with Tarun and Pankaj earlier to this session, I was telling them that few things what we were doing offline, we have to continue it in here. First of all, I have to have a set of rules for my class. It's like 3 rules should be given to all the students of my class, and I have to repeat it like a mantra on religious basis, on day-to-day basis. So whatever you feel, what is a difficulty, what you are unable to work out, or it's like Tarun was sharing that many students, they switch off the video and we are unable to call them, we are unable to connect to them. So devise some strategy for that in consultation with the senior students if you are dealing with senior students. Fine. So talk to them, this is the problem. And we want to learn whatever possible in this online course, because we cannot help it. We have to go with this. So if we'll set 3 rules for that in consultation with the senior students, that is the adolescents group, 13 to 18, definitely they will come out with different ideas. It's like we have done one survey with almost 900 students, and they have given so many ideas that we asked them that, do you have any suggestions for the teachers in online classes? And they have come out with many ideas, but most of them, they have told us that if the teacher calls us at least once in a month individually, that helps us a lot. That actually gives us a feeling that we are getting individual attention. So somewhere these things we have to keep it in mind, that I have to have 3 rules for my class. Then always it's like try to make some efforts to connect individually with each and every student from your class. As it's not compulsory, I know there are some limitations, but still if it is possible, at least try to connect with the students who have major difficulties. It's like always we have seen that the students who come into this 60%, when we consider the class and bell curve in the class, 60% of the students who usually are quiet, who are coming into average category, teachers don't usually pay much attention to them. And they are the same students who are switching off their cameras, who are not answering in the class, online classes, because they know that teacher is sure, they are aware about their abilities, and they don't take any effort to connect with the teacher. So I think the teacher has to go back and connect. So these two things are very important. Now going with the age group wise, when I was going through the data which Pankaj shared with me, I have seen that many of the teachers, almost out of 60, I think 20 or more than 25 teachers have given the response that the age group, that is early childhood, which is from 2 years to 6 years, is the most difficult age group to handle. And as a child psychologist, I have completely different opinion about this. It's like it is the most wonderful class where we can connect with each and every child without much effort. It's just like you call out the name and the child gets connected to you. So if we try to understand the developmental objective of that age group, the first thing what we feel is that they want that personal touch, personal connect, and it is universal for 3 age groups which I have given in the questionnaire, that is early childhood, late childhood, and adolescence. They need that individual connect. Here also it is same. Then they want to have the enjoyment out of the activity what they were doing, what they are doing. It's like I just asked one of the teachers who's taking pre-primary classes, I just asked her, if you want to teach something regarding A or B, the alphabets, you call the parent or send the message to the parent one day earlier, ask them what you are going to what you will require tomorrow to teach that particular concept. Ask them to keep it ready, and the next day you call out for those things, and whoever comes for the class, I know there will be very less number of students compared to offline classes, but they will be there and they will start enjoying. And it's like you call out for apple or call out for some object which starts with A, or any book which has letter A in that, whatever she wanted to have, she asked for it, and many parents kept it ready. And the next day when she showed that particular alphabet and the child was able to respond to it, that child started feeling so happy with that achievement, that the child has achieved something and he is been recognized over there, and he started enjoying those activities. And after few alphabets, the children, they themselves started collecting the objects which were required for that activity. So this is what gives them more fun. So we have to, it's like how one of the teachers, I think Chiquita ma'am, if I haven't called her by some wrong name, she was very nice in her ways of addressing different subjects and connecting with the students. So all of you, you know all these things. Only thing, like, if I know what is the objective of that age group, definitely I'll be able to serve the purpose. Then fun is there, free play is there for the younger age group. Then the fundamental motor skills. One of the teachers, or yeah, I think two of them, they have mentioned that motor skills are very important. And actually, sensory experiences are more important. Even this near to far applies here also. Like in the developmental stages, first of all, the child learns to focus with his eyes. Okay, we get the focus first, then the neck holding, then the back, and then the motor coordination with hands and other body parts. So it's from near to far I go. The same thing, if I apply here, let them have that experience with whatever objects they see every day, let them have fun with that. And then I will go with the concepts which they haven't learned till yet, or which they haven't got exposed to. So it will give us idea of near to far. And yeah, you will get some time afterwards if you have question. Okay. Then there is a creativity. Pankaj and Tarun has shown us different experiments with the creativity, and children, they have lot of creativity. You just trigger their ideas, and they will be coming out of different things for one learning of one concept. Then that's the inner urge that they want to experience everything uh, with their sense doors. It's like they want to hear a lot. They want to see different things, different colors, different shapes, different sizes, even the distances, everything. If I am giving those experiences to the child, then definitely child will learn very quickly and with proper interest in learning. Even like playing with the mud and all that, touch, kinesthetic, everything, wherever possible, try to expose this early childhood age group to all these sensory experiences. Then sharing is their trust and friendship, which are the internal or emotional things which are the objectives of this age group. They are the inner urges which needs to be satisfied. So somewhere, if you have one session where they will talk to each other online, no teaching, no learning, it's like just the communication with whoever is there in that group. We'll talk about anything other than academics, anything other than your syllabus. It's like about the flowers, about the colors, about the people at home, or about puja, or about fruits, vegetables, whatever possible ways. Even like the nature walk, what one of the teacher is taking children to. Think about different trees, different animals, different flowers, and talk to them about that. And let each and every child participate in that, so that the sharing is happening, the trust is building, and even the friendship is happening when they are seeing those faces on everyday basis. Fine. So this is for early childhood. Then the next is late childhood. That is the actually from the psychology perspective, the age group that is from 7 to 12 is again very what we can say, very active age group, where they are more of a gang age, we call them, because they are very much connected with their friends, with their peers, and they enjoy the company of their friends around. So here also the connect, the personal connect is very important. Then it's like they are in search of finding their own identity, the confidence level. And as Pankaj and Tarun has done with their activities, it's like let them respond in any ways. Try to avoid negative remarks on any of the responses what have been given in the group. If by mistake also, if any negative remarks goes in there in that group, definitely next time the child is not going to respond you for sure. So try to avoid negative remarks for any answer. Let it be open. Anyway, now we have understood the perspectives of learning are different for each and every individual. Like the first puzzle, what we saw, different shapes with borders, different color and all that. So every person's perspective is different. So maybe he is thinking about something else. So don't be judgmental, don't be critical over there. Just accept it as it is. Maybe you can pull him to the subject with some other way, but let him be open or let her be open. Okay, then it's like a mutual respect. That is another developmental objective of that age group. When I'm trying to find myself, when I'm trying to be confident in the world outside my family, then I need that respect from the other person who is there in front of me. If I'm being criticized, if I'm being judged everywhere, and teachers, they are, it's like, I have heard it from even senior teachers that somehow we are critical. We cannot stop that. But I said, this actually hurts the emotion of that student who is in front of you. And many times they become introvert. It is kind of an induced introversion, what we say for that. So that happens. So try to avoid that and encourage the child to maybe communicate with others, or communicate with you, or give him some task where his courage also is being triggered, because courage also is another thing which requires lot of exposure over here in this age group, because they are coming out of their families now, coming out of their comfort zone, and they will be entering into the world outside. So they need to have that courage to face the world. So don't ever give them any fear. Try not to scare them, especially by negative motivation or punishment or anything like that, because that actually works in a very what we can say other way, and it decreases the confidence of the child, and it is not that good for the next level where he will be trying to understand all the things. When he has a negative image of self, then all the further construction of his personality becomes very difficult and goes in a wrong direction. Then they are more about it's like finding out a proper channel for their motor skills. It's like we usually say, even the doctors, medical practitioners, they say that the child should start formal training of any sports after the age group of after the child becomes 7 years or 8 years old. That is the time when he has the child gets all the mastery over his gross motor and fine motor skills, and even the bone development is happening properly. Now that energy also is quite full, and many times we are seeing that parents are quite aware nowadays, and they are giving a lot of healthy food and no channelizing for the energy. So here they need a lot of goal-oriented activities with their motor skills and with their physical energy. So that is also a need of a time where actually different games can be devised now. Those who are really very good and creative in online classes, they can definitely share their ideas that how they can be given different activities. Now few yoga teachers have come forward and they have introduced different asanas over for few schools, and they are actually running different channels also for different schools where they are taking regular classes of yoga and physical exercises online. So that also can be done even though we are online. And again, try to give them at least one period a month where there will not be any discussion about academics. They'll come there and they will share their ideas, or they will do something where they will be getting connected with each other in the class. So please do this activity because it is very much required for this age group. Fine. Then if we move to the next age group, that is adolescents or 13 to 18 years, actually, I personally like to take these classes because they are very creative and they are bubbling with energies, intellectual potential, and they are exposed to different things, especially when it is online. They try to explore different things online and they share many things which we usually don't aware much because it's like how we say they are digital natives, so they know uh, uh, all the different uh, things about the digital world and gadgets. So again, here we need to know that if they are digital natives, if they know everything, then as a teacher, what goal I can provide them. As many teachers have said, and even the teachers have Googled for some information. So definitely the assignments or the projects can be given to the students where they can use the gadgets, and now formally we are giving the gadgets to them. So it's like allowed, although the parents have to have like watch on the screen time, how much they are on screen time. But anyway, that's another question. Then the personal responsibility of a team or something, some activity can be given where they can connect to each other, the teamwork, some group projects can be given, and they can find out that yes, they are fit in some social group. It's like coming from home and comfort zone, exploring society. Now here they will try to establish themselves in the society with their personal potential and handling different responsibilities, and even with the team spirit they can work now. And few are the leaders like Tejasvi Surya in Bangalore. So it's like they have that potential from within and they can lead the groups at any age. Then they have a very well developed communication skills also, which many a times with the negative remarks of the elders they just cover it up. But when they face the group which is non-judgmental, which is not critical, which is not examining or judging them on any dais, then they come out with their communication skills, whether it's a verbal or non-verbal skills. They can definitely communicate very well. They need that exposure. Then values, different values are developed by this time. And as in one of the messages, it came that yes, stories should be given, but without values. And children, they have that inner thing, that inner voice of theirs, which tells them what is good, what is bad, what is right, what is wrong, what they should be doing, and what they shouldn't be doing. Now it depends on the family, the upbringing, even the teachers. Many a times it depends on the teachers. Like a very big example of maths, which is universal again. If the teacher is not good, then the child develops a negativity towards maths. It's a universal fact. And somehow, now by God's grace, we are getting very good maths teachers, but still many teachers have to work on that. Anyway, and emotion part here plays very important role. Emotions like anger, that is the extreme emotion, stress, frustration, they are now this age group experiences this. So when a teacher connects to the child on individual basis, she can definitely ask or he can definitely talk to the child regarding the stress or regarding any particular pressure what the child is facing. So actually when you are talking to the child here, considering the developmental objective of the child, definitely if you are talking about this stress and frustration, you are counseling the child in one way. So it's like you are giving him some source of ventilation for his negative energies or for his stress or frustrations or anger. Sometimes they are really done with the comments which are being passed by the classmates or teammates or even by the teachers. Or definitely when the child gets these kind of comments from the society where he is actually trying to establish himself, his confidence goes down and all the negativities, they really shoot up. And then there are fights with the parents, there is non-cooperation with the parents, and all these things happen. So many a times, what as a psychologist, I have experienced that if I know there is some person outside my family is understanding me, that helps the child to put himself or establish himself very confidently in the society. So, especially as a teacher, uh, although we are always been neglected, but I always feel it's like you are the unknown soldiers in the fight, and you actually play a very big role in building society. So try to be very positive. Uh, I know you are also human beings. You definitely need some relaxation and some break. But still, when you are in online class, you have to be enthusiastic. You have to be very creative. You have to think out of the box. And you have to, it's like you have to be ready all the time to help your students. So, this is what I have to speak. I have taken 5 minutes more. I'm sorry.
No problem, ma'am. So thanks a lot for sharing a lot of these insights. I'm sure there are a lot of questions, but the only problem is we have like done with today's time. But yeah, if there is like interest, and we will take some questions. But before we leave, like I just mentioned earlier, we will be having this program and for counseling and also for science. Like science is just a tool, it will be mainly for the joy of learning. And before we take some questions, you can put on the questions also later on, or maybe we can take more as an interactions, the questions with Ashwini ma'am. I'm sure I also have some questions, and I'm sure many of us will have some questions, especially for the adolescent age group, or maybe somebody for the other age group. But before we break for the or we leave or start with those questions, somebody, we would want you to like reflect for today's sessions, whatever we discussed today. So like, how was your emotional journey during the session? Or if you can share like some ideas that you like from the discussion, and say 3 ideas or 2 ideas that you would like to implement during your classes when you go back to the students. And if there is something that was not clear, and if you would want us to communicate, I mean, to communicate back to us so that we can improve in future. So yeah, please share your reflections in the chat box. That is very important. And then we will take the questions with Ashwini ma'am. Sorry, ma'am, I'll just pushing the questions, but we thought if people leave, so at least if you leave with the reflections, don't leave without reflecting. At least spend some 2 minutes, share your thoughts in the chat box. And then we will start with some like whatever questions we have with Ashwini ma'am. Yeah, please reflect on today's session, whatever was your experience, something that you take back, and something that you want to convey to us. Yeah, again, be frank, transparent, straightforward, everything. So that's a very important exercise. Generally, we give a lot of importance to reflections, because just these 5 minutes of recollecting all the thoughts and what do we take forward from your. Okay.
How slowly the reflections are coming. So, yeah, that's interesting.
Right. Thanks a lot.
Manjula is saying fun and games are good, attractive. We can use in class. And rules for classroom. What Ashwini ma'am said. Wow, such a big reflection is.
Right. So storytelling, one child short story in every class. Add that individualized opportunity thing. Okay, nice. Takes only their names of presentation of their work to make them happy. Nice. Okay, so importance to each child. Nice. So yeah, thanks for sharing these reflections. Yeah, others also, everyone, if you at least spend 1 or 2 minutes of thought and share your reflections. I'm sure some of you are writing, typing, so yeah.
If others want, they can also go through others' reflection, because many of the times, as we are talking about the peer learning, we can learn from each other, even from reflection.
Yes, we will be sharing we'll just upload it on YouTube and share the link. So if you feel somebody might be interested, you can just share the link with them. And if anybody else from your, like any colleagues or anybody is interested in this Teachers Corner, it's a very informal community. Anybody is free to share your opinions. So,
Namrata is saying that I love the point of view that you shared for OneNote.
Right.
Because these are the activities which we do it. So if you can have these subtle shifts, then it brings a very different kind of perspective. So, yeah. Okay, so Pankaj, maybe we can start taking questions. If anyone has any questions, while others are writing, you can keep writing.
Yeah, so anybody has any questions for Ashwini ma'am? Tarun, if you can just moderate.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if anyone has any question, you can unmute yourself. And
yeah, even any other general questions, any thoughts, you can please unmute or write.
or if you want to write in the chat, that is also fine. Anything is okay.
Hi, Tarun.
Yeah.
This is Namrata. So I just want to, like we are okay to deal with kids, but sometimes it really becomes difficult to deal with parents, especially for online classes. So like how to deal with it, I just wanted to like if Ashwini ma'am can just give us a few more tips to handle parents, especially not the kids.
Yeah, Ashwini ma'am.
Yeah, very good question. It's like, as I said, we have certain rules for the students. I think the same way, if we keep the rules for the parents, then that will be very nice. It's like just send them the message that you cannot interfere or disturb us when the session is going on. All the question or all the queries can be handled later after the session gets over. 5 minutes will be given, like how we actually stipulate some time for talk and some time for question answers. That way we can go about it. And if the official message goes from the school to the parents, actually that works a lot.
Yeah, just to add to what Ashwini,
thank you so much.
yeah, just to add to what Ashwini ma'am said, in our experience also we have experienced this, because many of the times parents will give the answer for a question, right? So then we are not allowing the students to think by their own, right? So one more thing which can be done is that, as Ashwini ma'am said, that communicating to the parents. So probably there is some message which goes from school saying that these are the do's or don'ts, or maybe some rule setting by themselves. Like, and why? We have to give the answer why. So many times parents think, yeah, it's okay now, we are giving them this answer, so they know the answer. But is knowing the answer more important, or are we trying to do something more than that, right? So if you are developing this thinking, then giving that answer will hurt that student. So communicating that why are we doing and what are we doing and why are we doing it to parents also help. Sometimes parents induction program may also help, like communicating what exactly we are doing with parents in a group of parents basically. So that may also be another thing which can be tried.
Yeah, exactly. And I just feel that taking a session with parents, I think, is important. That how to deal while the online classes are going on for their kids. This is actually a topic which should be taken for the parents, those who are especially working, or or maybe over concerned for their kids.
Correct.
Hi Tarun, Vishakha here. If I'm supposed to add, can I add something
Yeah,
here?
please. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. I also feel that the question asked is very valid. But then at the same time, what I have observed over this past 1.5 years is that, especially for the smaller kids, parents want nothing but their child getting attention, their child being given that importance. And if the child is attended to, and as suggested, if the names are taken and the child is addressed by the name, given that importance, and the teacher can set the rules of the class, as very rightly said, that if the rules are set and they say, okay, I'll go in alphabetical order or roll number wise, and then everybody gets a chance, and the child is addressed personally, appreciated personally, parents just want attention, whether in forms of praise or giving the answers themselves. So if that is given by the teacher, they will generally not interrupt.
Yeah, that is another very interesting perspective where, like, are we giving enough attention to the students and individual student more importantly? So do we have that connect? So yeah, very, very true. Vinita has a question. So Ashwini ma'am, can you read or shall I read?
Yeah, I'll open my question. Okay.
So Vinita is saying how to have an interactive session so that children can improve their community skills.
Communication skills.
Yeah. Community.
Yeah. Actually, the way Tarun and Pankaj have conducted the session, it's like take any topic of your subject or related to any lesson and let them have a discussion. Give them the point which one group has to discuss and the other group, like group discussion type, or just throw the question on open ground and let them think about it and come out with their different ideas. And as Vishakha ma'am has said, that appreciate each and every idea and suggestion given by the student. So the child feels confident at any age group. Now these 3 age groups, whatever we say, if I'm appreciating and motivating the idea,
just a point.
child,
Vinita also has given additional information saying that these are pre-primary kids.
okay, yeah. So even then, as I told you about one of that experience, that when I am communicating with the parent first and asking them to arrange the material what I require, and when the child is able to say something about it, then the child feels very as we heard about from Vishakha ma'am, that attention is given to the child and he feels happy about it and confident about the appreciation of it. But here in pre-primary group, you have to intimate the parents first, because the child is unable to get all the things or all the ideas on its own. So it's like if we communicate with the parent initially that we are taking this activity tomorrow, so please keep the things ready. Few parents definitely won't react positively, but still if the circular or the message goes from the school, definitely we can hope for some positive things. Or you keep your things ready and ask the children, like those who are not having, to say something about it, so they will be communicating with you.
Also, just to add to that, like, so when we are talking about community skills, so it can be with their own colleagues, their own peers, but also it can be with the family, right? So the child might have siblings, so they can interact with them. So there can be some activity given after the session where they do it with the family. So then that may also help. Considering right now it is online setting, so otherwise there are other things can also be. Namrata is saying that we can have more of show and tell can also help. Namrata, would you like to unmute and elaborate on that?
Yeah, so like I'm also taking pre-primary in my school. So this is a very good experience that I have experienced, that, all the learners. So every week we keep one show and tell for our learners. And this really works well to, enhance their communication skills. So initially a child just speaks around 2 to 3 lines about whatever they have, but then by the end of the year, so we have seen that kids are actually able to explain lots and lots, and they want to talk about those things, like whatever they have in their heart, they start speaking up, they start coming up with things that they have seen, or they really want to share their experience to these show and tells. So every week we keep one show and tell, so it really works with us.
Great. Yeah, I think there are two answers, two questions got answered. One about community skill and one about communication skills. So, yeah. Okay, great. Thanks, Namrata, for that. Okay, Vishaka also saying pre-decided topic shared beforehand helps. Okay, yeah, that is also another additional point. Okay, any other question? Yeah, you can unmute yourself if you have any other question. Yeah, so if there are no more questions, I think we are done from our side. So thanks a lot for the wonderful participation. We really enjoyed your active participation and all the inputs, whatever you gave. So it was a lot of learning even for us. So thanks everyone for participating so actively. Pankaj, anything else to add?
No. Thanks to everyone, and thanks to Ashwini ma'am also, like that perspective that was added many a times. Like there is joy things we can talk, but if there is some other mental block, we need to address that also. Otherwise, we cannot achieve this state of joy. So.
I just want to add one more point here as I saw the name of Chiquita ma'am. It's like the theme, what she was talking about, she took the theme of Gujarat. Like that, even for pre-primary, we can take the theme of different colors, fruits, vegetables, or anything, and ask them to participate in that, which will definitely help them. And actually, one of our schools is working with these ideas, like taking one theme per month, and they are giving different responsibilities to different students. So they are also feeling that, yes, they are contributing to that. So it helps. And for all age groups, we can use this idea.
Yeah. By the way, we should thank all the people who participated.
Seriously.
So many chats today. Like it will run in hundreds of comments today. So many questions, so many interesting things, and were lovely participation. I really.
So more than number, I think it is the perspective, right?
Yeah. So
Very
many
different perspective.
Yeah.
Sir, I think it will be put on the YouTube once again because I was not able to participate fully. The same.
Yeah. So all the Teachers Corner sessions are there in the YouTube. There's a playlist. We'll just mail it across.
Okay, sir. Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, teachers. Thank you for sharing so many ideas. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Tarun and Pankaj. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am.